I'm Jason Kiefer, and this is Illegal Shift. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Tua Tagovailoa. He's called Brian Flores a terrible person. We'll figure out what a terrible person is and why that matters. We'll also be talking about a former Detroit lineman who started peeing on a person on an airplane. Was he disoriented? Did he think he was in downtown Detroit? Or did he merely tell the guy it was raining? Also, Randy Gregory is missing and has been dismissed by whatever Florida team he was working for. I think it was the Bucks. Minshew Mania continues in the desert, and there's fires in California, not just in the Cowboys training camp. And that's not even just a metaphor. Keith, with your permission, we'll start the show.
Kick it off, brother.
All right, let's do it.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the
Giving them business down there at the 15-yard penalty.
There was no foul on the play. It was not a hold. The defender was just overpowered.
Illegal shift on the kicking team. That penalty is refused. First down.
Guns up, giddy up, Wolfpack. Failure to stop. It's also one more and I'm out of here. And I don't know what kind of special thing that they say to their fans. They probably just open beers and say 100% and nod at each other. We're simulcast on both channels now. So formerly exclusive Failure to Stop programming. Of course, we're on Failure to Stop right now. If you're a member, we appreciate all of our members who patiently waited for us to start the show. I started it 15 minutes late because I knew that if I woke up and was trying to do something at 11, I would just need 15 more minutes. So I went ahead and did that for my own self, treated my own self. We thank you for joining us. I'm Jonathan, M1 Dispatcher, and that's what qualifies me to talk about sports on this first responder sports show. That's probably the strangest of all podcasts, but not like strange in a way in which will compel you to tell your friends that you've got to listen to it. Joining me as always, Jason Kiefer, a fire lieutenant from the Buckeye State. Go Buckeyes. Keith, how are you? How have you been? You said something about risking your life to save an abandoned, dilapidated structure last night, risking your all for no reason. Tell us about it, man.
I made it sound nothing like that. We had a shithole house night before last that was fully involved, and I had a little slip. I fell into through a piece of plywood into a exterior cellar, and I realized I'm not 23 anymore. I am sore as shit. Nothing a muscle relaxer couldn't fix last night, though.
You said you said you had a testicle partially detached as well?
Not detached. When I fell in, I fell all the way up to my nuts, and didn't feel lovely.
Oh man, this is like that time you threw yourself off of a boat for no reason. Well, the boat was partially on fire, if I recall correctly.
My fucking liver was for the amount of alcohol that I put in my system.
I feel bad.
I don't blame the boat. I blame myself.
I feel bad for you, but I do have a legitimate question. And all of my legitimate questions always seem like the most facetious and critical questions.
Like I preempt it with legitimate.
I'm just letting you know that you should let your defenses down even for a second. So the structure is abandoned.
Correct.
Why are you approaching it to put it out? Why are you risking even your nuts or like falling through a piece of plywood? Why are you putting yourself at hazard for an empty building? At some point you should be asked to burn it down anyway, because it would be a hazard to human occupation. So
it would make sense to do that, but that's not the way it works. Windows were boarded up, so I had to approach it to pull some plywood off the windows. So that way we had a place
in order to better ventilate the structure and increase the temperature of the fire
and get water on it.
Oh, right.
Got to kind of do that. So yeah, it's just those fires suck. They're just.
Let me show you this picture of actually this huge blanket that they pull over house fires.
We can just get some of our drones to drop it.
I'm just kidding, but why did you put yourself at risk for an abandoned house? I mean, how is that worth it?
We had to put it out, and there was a house next door to it, so we were trying to protect that house that was being lived in.
But couldn't you just like pour water over the top of it to limit exposure a little bit from cooking off the other house and starting that on fire, and then just whatever happens, man? I mean, I get that firefighting is methodical, even surgical, but why put yourself at risk for a house that I'm sure was a total loss?
Well, that's why we didn't go inside. We shot water from the outside. for
Okay, so
hours.
you did do the thing that I'm suggesting.
Yes.
Okay.
We just had to open it up a little bit so that way we could actually get water into the structure.
Okay. Well, what I worry about is that we're opening you up a little bit, and you're irreplaceable. I wanted to recognize some of the folks in our chats because we do appreciate them. Dad Leg Media, who's legally required to be here. Will Cray, also required. Mur530 says, I wasn't the first. The second smells bad. Third's the one with the treasure chest. I'm not sure if that's right, but I like it today. So he's kind of complimenting himself. Mike Dutcher's here. He says, guns up, giddy up. Dead Leg Media says, bronze medal, treasure chest. Kiefer's here. You're here at the chat, so that's nice. Teresa Flobert is here. That makes me really happy because Teresa never comes to any of my shows. I always see her on Wednesday night, and I'm just like, why doesn't Teresa come to my shows? What do you think it is that Eric has that I don't have?
I don't know.
I was asking Teresa, but
No,
I mean, I would love for you to tell me as well.
You've got a sparkling personality, John. I don't know why she
sparkles. You know what? Is it that what it is? Is that I'm a little too depressing? Is it that I'm the anti-Tansy? Like I'm pretty much his exact opposite? Because like if that's the criticism, at least I can understand that. Well, but why is it that people are here for Wednesdays? The show about news. And then we kind of do just a lighter version of that. Like we do a version that's not about the world ending,
That's true.
And is that what it is? Is that people kind of need some of that fear and political danger porn? Like that's what gets them really vested. Like it's hard to care about a ex-Detroit lineman guy that just pees on a guy on a Delta flight, right? I'm gonna make you care about that if you're in the show. It's just I wonder what it is that makes people decide to do that show, to watch that show, but not necessarily this one. And I think what it is people say like, I don't do sports. I'm not into the sports ball. But anyone who would watch the show, I would compel you to reach out to your fellow Wolfpack members and tell them like, look, it's really not that much about sports. I mean, they talk about sports, but we don't do in-depth coverage here. We mostly make fun of it. So if you like making fun of sports, this is a good place to do that. Keith, unless you have any insight for more of the things that are wrong with me, because you did give me insight today that I just have a generally terrible attitude about life and that I need to change anything inside of me if I want my life experiences to be different.
Well, for the record, the counseling meter is now running again.
So I know, yeah.
Probably for this hour or so.
I'm just going to Venmo you. Or I'll just send you an ass load of like generic thumbnails and hope that like world events shape themselves so that they're applicable and you could just use them. I'll just put up a lot of ones of Kamala Harris laughing and it's like, what did she say now? And then Joe Biden just with his eyes closed, like, is he alive? I'll just send you a bunch of those.
That'll be payment enough.
And of course, Trump, those ones are easy to send to. So I'll just pay you off in essentially customized memes for your show.
Perfect.
Show's brought to you by GhostBed. Those of you who know, those of you who have loved Failure to Stop since its very beginning, those of you who are still trying to love Failure to Stop, even though I'm on it, and here talking about sports, just to spit on the memory of Mike the Cop. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate your support of GhostBed, and we appreciate GhostBed supporting us. GhostBed's a wonderful, wonderful company. They make beds made out of sustainably harvested human souls. They convert that into comfortable bed technology at their factory way down South America. Not in South America, but in Southern America, if I may distinguish those two things. Mm-hmm. Go to ghostbed.com, use the offer code Wolfpack. You could save 40% and get sleep so good it's scary. Even if you're a piece of shit and you're not paying child support and you refuse to get a job because they're just going to dock your wages and you're a felon, and you have a possession of a firearm, you got no driver's license, and you're driving around anyway, and literally every single thing you do is against the law, you still deserve a good place to sleep. So go to ghostbed.com on the phone that you stole earlier today at the coffee shop. Make sure you don't update the payment preferences, but go to ghostbed.com. Save the person who you have just victimized 40% or more. You can find adjustable bed frames, mattresses, cooling technology, all the stuff that you will need. You could take it out there to your abandoned structure, and before it burns down, you could set up your ghost bed there, and you can get excellent sleep. 0% down, 0% financing. Even if you're literally Antonio Brown, former millionaire, former Las Vegas Raider. He retired as a Raider of all things. you can go over there and get those great deals. So we thank Ghostbed for keeping us going in these trying times. Also, sleep helps us, but also food. My thanks to Factor Meals. Thanks to Factor Meals because they keep sending me food. It gets dropped off at my house, reverse trick-or-treat style. Sometimes I forget about setting up deliveries, and so they just send me food that I want. I'm always delighted each day as I get my Factor Meal out of the fridge. It's a premier and gourmet, ready-to-heat meal. It's prepared by chefs. I have been eating a lot of green beans, a lot of chicken, a lot of potatoes. All of these things, very delicious, very good for me. It's just like having someone who cares for me because I have hot food there. You can throw it in the microwave for just 2 minutes, and it's delicious. It's wonderful, and it saves you a lot of time. And if you're working on things like you're changing your body composition, you have certain goals you want to make, this helps you do your meal planning, makes it easy. Go over to Factor Meals, use the offer code WOLFPACK50. That gives you half off to start. Is it cheap? No. Is it valuable? Yes, just like Kiefer. So we appreciate you going over there to Factor Meals and supporting us as always. Main breaking news. Everyone's a terrible person and no one cares, and it's why everything sucks. But why does Tua Tagovailoa care so much about that? We're going to comment on this story from Yahoo Sports, the pinnacle of sports reporting. Brian Flores responds after Tua Tagovailoa slammed his coaching style with the Dolphins. Was it his coaching style he was slamming? Brian Flores is set to enter his second season as the Vikings defensive coordinator this fall. Of course, the Vikings have, I've heard from several Vikings fans, they have already given up on the season. I'm not joking. With J.J. McCarthy, fresh from the Wolverines, already supposed to have season-ending surgery, and having to rely on Sam Darnold, they're just throwing in the towel. Let me ask you this question real quick, Vikings fans. Who have you been supporting all of these years? Because it was Kirk Cousins before this, who's probably a little better than Sam Darnold, but not that much better. I mean, if you consider the year of play that Kirk Cousins is entering into. You had Case Keenum before that, Sam Bradford at some point. It's like you have this long history of middling to below average quarterbacks, and now you have Sam Darnold. So why are you giving up this year and not each and every single year before this? Because normally you guys come out in September talking all kinds of trash, and I have to put up with this nonsense. And that's what really bothers me about it, is not your sense of team pride, although we know that that's fake because no one hates the Vikings more than Vikings fans. It's this trash talk that is baseless because you guys have been, at best, optimistic since 1961. You've never achieved anything. Yes, you did achieve the NFL championship in the year of our Lord, 1969, the very last year before the Super Bowl was being played between the AFL and the NFL. But no one remembers that shit. And if we want to count it, that means Green Bay has like 13 more than they do right now. So we're not going to count that. So my question to you, as always, Vikings fans, what the fuck? Because no matter what you do, it is wrong in my eyes. So your optimism is wrong and your pessimism is wrong. But every single year, you never cease to amaze me with your inappropriate reactions to real life. Anyway, back to Brian Flores down in Miami, formerly of Miami. Brian Flores heard from his former quarterback what he said about him this week, and it didn't sit well with him. Keith, if I told you were a terrible person, would that bother you?
It definitely would. I legitimately care about your opinion of me.
All right. Well, if Steve Ranshaw told you were a terrible person, would you care?
No, wouldn't care at all.
Yeah. See, who the hell's Steve Ranshaw? Get the fuck out of here, Steve. Exactly. Quit cheering for the Vikings. Go cheer for the Twins. Pack it in. All right. Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa spoke out about this former head coach in an interview with the Dan Le Batard show this week and ripped Flores' coaching style and compared him to his current situation with new Dolphins coach and future serial killer Mike McDaniel. Flores, who is now a defensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings, admitted that Tagovailoa's comments stung him. Ouch, he said, ow. That hit me in a way that I wouldn't say that it was positive for me. He said it in a massive understatement. Flores said on Tuesday via Fox 9's Jeff Wald. But at the same time, I've got to use that and say, hey, how can I grow from that? Can I be less terrible? Do I feel like that's me? No, it wasn't me. I won't grow from this at all. He's wrong. But maybe he's right. And how could I grow from that situation and create a world that's not the case where anybody says that about Brian Flores? It sounds like he needs to get into counseling even more than I do.
Maybe you guys can get a 2-for-1.
He said that, look, I'm human. I'm a human being, God damn it. When you cut me, I bleed. That hit me in a way that just was not positive at all. And how can I be better? I don't think Brian Flores gives a fuck. Let's be honest. The NFL is a big organization with a lot of power and a lot of money. And I do think that you have to sell yourself at a certain point to get to this level where you don't care about who gets in your way. Because to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, you have to destroy the ambitions, the personal ambitions, and probably the life of several people to get to that position. And that's just what football is. That's meritocracy is. And hey, that's business, baby. And so I think he long ago gave up on any idea of being a nice person, a terrible person, a good person. I think those things generally go away at like the Pop Warner level of football. I mean, how many movies have we seen, Keith, where it's about a ragtag group of disparate heroes, all children, whether it's the Mighty Ducks or the Little Giants or whatever. And they're going up against the other team, and it's the last 5 minutes of the movie, whether it's that black team, the hockey team, and Mighty Ducks, or the little Dallas Cowboys and the Little Giants. And that other coach is already a horrible person. He's at that level with like sixth graders. Why do we expect Brian Flores to be a good human being?
It's actually a very good point. I
just
didn't look at it that way.
I think that Tua maybe has some unrealistic expectations. Now, it's possible that Tua is just a very, very nice person. I actually believe that's highly likely because when you have all the talent in the world, it's very, very, it's much easier to be a nice guy because people are seeking you out. People are trying to get you to come play for their team. Certainly, there were people that after his time in Alabama where they desperately wanted Tua, on their team.
Oh yeah, being courted by everybody.
When you're Brian Flores, you have to go out there and prove it because you're just fucking Brian Flores. And at the end of the day, results are what matters. And you know what? You could be a football genius. You could be someone with like the schemes and diagrams of Tom Landry and Vince Lombardi. But if you don't have the personality to go out there and force your players to respect you, they don't have to like you as a wonderful person, but respect you and do as you say and execute. They're never going to put all your genius to work, and no one will ever know how smart you are. And you will fade, and you will wind up working at like an In-N-Out or something. So you have to do that. Would you, Brian Flores? You have to not be a nice person. And I suppose there's a huge disparity between not being nice or being forceful and being terrible, right? Like we probably all would expect Brian Flores to scream at these people, to call them maggots. But, maybe he doesn't have to, tailgate or whatever it is that he's doing in his real life that makes him terrible. Let's continue to break down what it is about Brian Flores that makes him a terrible person, because I know you guys all care about Brian Flores.
Well, here,
Flores,
real quick before you do that. So with your point of like, courting these quarterbacks or, these great players, and I'm not by no means putting Brian Flores in the same tier or category as Bill Belichick, but everybody loved to hate Bill Belichick. He didn't talk to reporters, but everybody knew that he was a great head coach.
I think Bill was more masterful than that because I think Bill was really nice.
But Bill didn't care.
I'm even guessing he was a nice person, but he masterfully hid that for people. And so he was sort of because look at the way he's come alive as a broadcaster. When he was covering the draft, showed a whole other side of himself. And whenever you see him on documentaries, he's much more amicable, amiable than when he was forced to do the things he didn't want to do. Right. When he was forced to go out there after practice or after a game and answer these asinine questions from people who don't know that the Detroit Lions play inside, things like that. I could see where that would really bother him. Or like the corporate shit he was always forced to do and to eat. Like you wonder why he's ripping the sleeves off of his hoodie. It's because that's where the Nike logo is. He wanted to just be a football coach and none of these other things. Whereas, I don't know anything about Flores. I've heard things about Flores. Do you want to know the things that I have heard?
I do.
I've heard that Flores is really a diversity hire. Have I just painted a huge target on my back by saying that? That he's
Potential.
not as great as people think he is, but there's this huge push in the NFL to have black head coaches.
I remember when Miami hired him. That was all the talk.
So I wonder if maybe Brian Flores hates being called a diversity hire. I imagine that he probably does, and maybe he hates that he reinforces the stereotype that black guys can't think, and that's not me saying that. Like the NFL has had this long history that black guys can't be quarterbacks. Like that is something that has dramatically shifted in the last 20, 30 years. 40 years, if you want to go back to the 80s. But it's always been sort of the presupposition of the NFL that the black people make excellent players, great cornerbacks, great wide receivers, great running backs. But they don't make good quarterbacks and they don't make head coaches. And there's always been sort of this inherent divide between black people and white people. I don't see it because, like, I just see a true meritocracy, right? Like, do you think anyone in Texas is mad that Dak Prescott is the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys based on his race? No, that's not our problem with him. No one is out there saying those things about it. We don't care who it is. And before this, we had Quincy Carter for a little bit. No one was mad that he was a black guy either. We were just looking for a guy to be as good as Troy Aikman. We didn't find one, but. So, I view the NFL as a true meritocracy. I think that's why people rise to the positions that they do, whether it's head coach or quarterback. And if you're seeing a disparity there, it's because of the forces that make people excellent or not. And it's because of their natural God-given talent. It's because of who they are as people. It's because of how hard they work. It has nothing to do with the color of their skin. So I don't know, but maybe that figures somehow into a Brian Flores. I hate that we're like diagnosing him, doing pop psychology on him. Let's just go back to the article, Keith.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah, it is. I'm in our self-reflective mood today, and I want to diagnose Brian Flores. I'm going to keep reading the article. Can you see if you can get him on the phone?
Yeah, I'll try.
All right. So Flores spent 3 seasons with the Dolphins, including Tagovailoa's first 2 in the league. McDaniel was hired to replace Flores after 2021. After that year, Flores, who spent more than a decade in various assistant roles under Bill Belichick with the New England Patriots, spent the 2022 season with the Pittsburgh Steelers before joining the Vikings as their defensive coordinator. Basically like throwing a piece of trash into a trash can, if you ask me. The Dolphins stint was the only one of the head coach during his time in the NFL. The differences between the 2 coaches he's played under the league is massive. So I guess Mike McDaniels, despite the fact that he looks like the Zodiac, is a nice guy. Any final thoughts on Brian Flores?
I forgot he was with the Steelers, to be honest with you. It just shows. Not that I know every assistant coach in the league, but the Steelers are one of our biggest rivals, and I completely forgot he was with them. So you educated me.
I think Brian Flores is probably a pretty forgettable person, and you're only going to really hear about him from the deep podcasts or SportsCenter type things. He's not someone that has come to my attention a lot. This is the first case that you sent me this week, and I thought it was really strange. This from Fox Sports, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. Former NFL starter arrested after allegedly urinating on a passenger during a flight. Got a couple questions for you. Got a couple questions.
Just need some clarification.
Couple questions, Keith. Number 1, how's it alleged? Because that doesn't happen by accident. It's never been alleged that I peed on someone on an airplane. It's not confusing like Terrell Davis's situation where the guy walks past him and his son wants ice and he's like, "Excuse me, could we get some ice?" And there's some physical contact there, but has it risen to the level of criminal assault? It's not. We're not splitting hairs here. Second question. If you pee on someone, how do you not pick up an indecent exposure charge? How could it just be urinating on someone? Which has to be assault, I'm guessing. Third question. Why would you respond to anything this way? And I have to ask you this as a firefighter. You heard the old Civil War phrase, I wouldn't pee on him if he was on fire, which I've always been confused by. Is it possible that there was a fire on this Delta flight midair, and Gosder Cherilus just found the only pressurized firefighting system at his command and employed it, and is now a hero, but an unlauded one. What's your initial thoughts on this, or should I just read from this Disney article?
I don't have anything like right in mind. I mean,
All
if
right,
he was
all right.
hitting the plane, then yes, okay.
We'll just get
be
to the
validated.
bottom of it. So Gosder Cherilus was the 17th pick of the 2008 draft, which personally was my favorite draft. Former NFL player Gosder Cherilus, which, again, I keep interrupting myself all day. Have you ever seen Key and Peele when they do their fake NFL names
Yes.
skit? Gosder Cherilus seems like one of those names, or seems like a name that I would give to your podcasting partner on One More and I'm Out of Here. I would just call him randomly Gosder Cherilus because it's just sounds. It's not. Neither one of them is actually a name. Gosder.
Crinkle McCringleberry.
Yeah, just like Blinderpund. It's like, what? It's just sounds. It's just various consonant blends and some vowels put in there. I feel like someone took some Scrabble tiles and put them in a bag and shook them up and spilled them out, and we got Gosder Cherilus. Anyway, former NFL player Gosder Cherilus was arrested on Saturday after he was accused of urinating on a passenger during a flight. 2008 first-round pick was on a Delta flight heading to Dublin, Ireland. Maybe that's a part of the story. Like, isn't there like a stone in Ireland you're supposed to pee on? It's not the Blarney Stone, because you're just supposed to touch that one.
Thought you were supposed to kiss that one.
Kiss that one. There is a stone you're supposed to pee on. You know how I know that for sure?
I have no fucking
Because
idea.
Irishmen are filthy drunks, which means they're peeing on things all the time. And I'm sure they've peed on something. And the response to that at some point was, it's tradition. We're supposed to do this. It's probably something English, if I had to guess, but they pee on it. Anyway, celebrating early his trip to Ireland, Gosder Cherilus on a Delta flight said that the airline said he was acting in an, quote, unruly manner. The flight was routed back to Logan Airport, disappointing every single other fucking person on board, ruining their vacations because of Gosder Cherilus, and he was taken into custody after the plane landed. Drunk airplane passenger fined for reportedly urinating cup during a delay at an Australia airport. So there's a lot of urinating on airplanes going on. Anyway, police told Boston 25 News that Cherilus was arrested for disorderly conduct. Why not assault? Why not indecent exposure?
So I pulled up. I said, what would the charge be if you peed on someone? Just very generic. It says in California, intentionally urinating on someone without their consent could be charged as simple battery.
See, I like how California throws that in there because they know lots of people are consenting to that in California.
Well, California, they're shitting on people and the streets. Urinating on a police officer or correctional institutional employee could be charged as a felony called gassing.
Gassing?
Gassing.
Here we call it sliming. We do. We call it sliming. Delta Flight 154 from Boston to Dublin on August 17th returned to Boston Logan due to an unruly customer, and he was met by law enforcement. A Delta spokesperson told the Boston outlet, Delta has zero tolerance for peeing on each other. Do not pee. We will be working together with law enforcement to get to the bottom of this situation, and we hope that, frankly, something worse happens so that you are distracted by that, and we will be doing our best to cover this incident up. We apologize to our customers for the delay in their travel. We know you have a choice when it comes to flying, and we hope that you come back to fly the pissy skies. The other passengers boarded a plane to Ireland on Sunday night. He's scheduled to be arraigned in a Boston court on Monday, so he never made it to Ireland. Gosder Cherilus, there's a picture of him here wearing number 77 in Honolulu blue, running out onto the field during a game, heading out to play the St. Louis Rams at Ford Field in 2012. On that day, just in case you're curious, the Rams were defeated by the Lions 27-23. Cherilus started as an offensive lineman during his time at Boston College. Keith, this is your chance to guess how many Pro Bowls he was in. He redshirted in 2013 and then became the 17th overall pick. How many Pro Bowls? He became the 17th overall pick in 2008 by the Detroit Lions. Keith, get your pick in now. How many Pro Bowls did he go to? In his 8 seasons out of 117 games, he started in all 113 of them. He started his first 5 seasons in Detroit before signing a deal with the Indianapolis Colts and free agency ahead of the 2013 season. His $35 million contract made him the highest paid right tackle at the time. However, he only lasted 2 seasons there. Despite signing for 5 years, he then spent his final 2 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before retiring in 2017. He played in 0 Pro Bowls. Congratulations, Keith. We love it.
Big winner.
Anytime you technically get something correct, we love that. Why the fuck did he pee on somebody? It still doesn't say.
You're right. There's no
What? And they obviously had just left, so they're just taking off. Why is he already so mad about that he's whipping his wiener out and letting fly?
why didn't he relieve himself before he got on the plane? What the hell?
Before, after, why didn't he pee his own pants? These are all things that he could have done other than peeing onto another human being. Keith, you're a reasonable man. In fact, you may be the most reasonable person I've ever met.
That's
what would get you to the point where you're peeing on another man on an airplane? Tell me what would push you there.
I have no idea, because I would never dream of doing such a fucking thing. If I'm having that big of an issue and I realize that, okay, if I pee on him, I'm gonna, they're gonna land this plane. I'm gonna get arrested.
I'm guessing in the comments, probably a jellyfish situation, maybe an actual fire, like somehow that might be an actual solution. But I think that you have to be a couple of things. Number one, I think you have to be intoxicated.
That would be fair to assume.
I think you also have to be a fucking psychopath.
Another great observation.
Let's see what the people in the chat say, because that's one of the benefits of being live with the members, and I want to include them a little bit. So looks like Falk Around and Find Out is here as well. I just wanted to acknowledge Britt for being a part of the show. And make sure you guys are hammering the like button as well, although I'm not sure if that does anything in a members-only live stream.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah. Will Gray's sad about everything that I said about the Vikings. He's not in good shape. What do people think about that? Golden showers? Is this a porn? Foxy. What kind are you watching? I don't know.
What tab are you hitting?
Maybe Foxy says this is how he thought you get into the Mile High Club. No one has any interesting thing to say, although Tyler was right. I before looking at the chats, I indicated someone would say something about a jellyfish being on board.
I love it.
All right. So I was right. I was right about that. So yeah, no one could think of a good reason why anyone should be peeing on anyone. Speaking of strange, weirdo, psychopath guys who make bad and weird decisions and who are also former NFL players, Buccaneers released Randy Gregory, former Dallas Cowboy, after he failed to report to training camp. That's from Fox Sports, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. The Tampa Bay they've released Randy Gregory after he failed to report to camp. Now, what was all that stuff about him? And was it the Denver Broncos? He had a lawsuit going on about THC.
Yeah, all the PTSD stuff, and I don't know if that case is still ongoing. I don't remember the last time we talked about it. I don't know if that was buttoned up or not, but we've talked about him multiple times. And that's when I saw this article. I was like, I got to send this to John just because this guy appears to be somewhat of a little bit of a train wreck.
Well, he was a train wreck even when he was at Dallas because he had substance use issues and he had performance issues. And Jerry Jones just kept repeatedly giving him a chance because he saw what he was capable of. And he did have a couple of clutch moves. Buccaneers head coach Tom Bowles said he won't miss veterans pass rusher Randy Gregory after his release from training camp. Bowles explained that he never found out why Gregory, who signed a 1-year, $3 million deal to the Bucs in April, missed 24 days of training camp in a preseason game amid his recent lawsuit against the NFL. He says, "No, I never found out," Bowles says in a Sunday press conference when asked about Gregory's extended absence. "I wish him the best. We'll move on from here, but you can't miss what you never had." Right. He makes an excellent point. Nobody knows what happened with Randy Gregory or why he disappeared. To me, that's the most interesting thing about it is that he did sign this, $3 million contract. I don't know how that compares to other parts of Randy Gregory's career, but $3 million is still a lot of cheese in a Biden economy. So why would your lawsuit against the NFL make you turn away from $3 million basically being handed to you by the Buccaneers? Either he didn't think he would make the team and he wasn't going to get the money anyway, or he feels like he's going to be paid more from this lawsuit, so he's putting all his eggs in that basket.
I find this dude is very intriguing to me, only because reading the article, it looks like he's like the trendsetter for the fact that the NFL isn't suspending anybody that has THC in their system anymore. It's still a banned substance. They're just getting fined, where they used to get suspended. So I don't know if he's trying to be like a martyr for the NFL Players Association. I have no idea, but
could be.
Like you said, he signed his contract. Why would you not show up and collect it? I mean, I don't know what his net worth is, so maybe he doesn't need it.
So he's suing the NFL and the Broncos for over $500,000 in fines. So hold on a second. He's suing them because he got fined $500,000 for his THC use that he says was therapeutic. He's walking away from $3 million to continue to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer in order to sue over this $500,000. So what would the court grant him? Probably the reimbursement of the fines. But then you're going to tell me that there's punitive damages that are going to result in the same thing as $3 million? There's no chance that the court's going to grant him $3 million. He would have been better off just like, and I hate to say this, but maybe for him, it's like actually like a moral issue, like he actually needs to like have this be the hill that he dies on for future NFL players or something.
Right.
But what's the point? What's the point of fighting for this $500,000 in fines when you could just take your $3 million if you just shut up and play the game?
Yeah, just suck it up and go to work.
It's $500,000 that you're trying to go for and forfeiting $3 million. So it's like a 6-1 loss there. All right. Randy Gregory suing the NFL and the Broncos claiming discrimination over being fined $532,500 for taking medication containing THC for disabilities during his brief time in Denver. And the complaint filed this week in Arapahoe County District Court. The 31-year-old pass rusher who now plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he doesn't anymore, and he was prescribed Dronabinol for social anxiety and PTSD, but he was denied accommodations to treat those disabilities with medicine. The NFL and the Broncos both declined comment when they were reached out to by the Associated Press. The NFL no longer suspends players who test positive for THC, quite correct, Keith, or tetrahydrocannabinol, the chemical responsible for most of marijuana's psychological effects, but it remains among the league's banned substances and is susceptible to fines. The Broncos are named in a lawsuit, although teams don't have any role in the fining of players who violate the league's drug policies. I was going to say, what do the Broncos have to do with it? The NFLPA substances of abuse policy is collectively bargained for, meaning it won't change again till, when did they say that was up? 2029, and administered jointly by a third-party medical professional. The complaint against Gregory was diagnosed with social anxiety disorder in 2021, which I think we can all just be diagnosed with, and PTSD in February 2023. Broncos and the NFL denied Gregory's request in March 2023 to use Dronabinol during non-work hours, according to the complaint. 2 months later, his agent Peter Schaffer requested a therapeutic use exemption for Gregory, which was also denied. Seems like if you got a doctor's note, that would be enough.
You would think.
You would think so. But Gregory's been fined $500,000 for repeated positive THC tests since March 2023. I could tell you he was testing positive before that. When he was with Dallas, he had those issues. The lawsuit contends the leagues and clubs' resistance to providing Gregory accommodations due to his disability is discriminatory under Colorado law. I don't know. I see both sides of it. Gregory was a second-round draft pick with the Cowboys in 2015. He played 5 seasons there. And he was suspended numerous times for violating the drug policies. He signed with Denver in 2022, missed most of that season with a knee injury, split the 2023 season between the Broncos and the 49ers, who acquired him in a trade last October. He's collected 22 career sacks and appeared in 72 games over 7 NFL seasons, signed a 1-year deal with the Bucs this spring. He's already been cut loose. 0 Pro Bowls. So, Randy Gregory, good luck to you in fighting this pointless battle that will never get you total compensation of your money or time back, and you have cut your own legs out from underneath you and $3 million more that you could have had to play for 1 more fucking year, and then you could have spent the rest of your life being as high as a kite. Great strategy session there, really well thought out. Tell you were probably high when you decided to make these plans. So
Dronabinol is used to treat nausea and vomiting caused by cancer medicines. It's used only when other kinds of medicine or for nausea and vomiting did not work. This medicine is also used to treat anorexia in patients with AIDS.
Oh,
So I don't know how that drug goes into a PTSD diagnosis. I have no clue.
I'm guessing that's all that matters that are going to be brought before the court. They're like, listen, this is the stuff that we actually use to train for or to treat people for nausea, AIDS, etc. Not, PTSD from growing up in the hood or getting tackled too many times or whatever's really bothering him. And I'm not even really downplaying it. I'm just saying I don't know what it is. I just think I think there's a good chance that his lawyers and his agents are giving him really bad advice.
It sure sounds like it.
Because how do you walk away from $3 million? Because even if he played this whole season, made the $3 million, as far as I know, he could still sue at the end of the season, right? Like he's 31. He probably doesn't have another season. If the Bucs were offering him $3 million to come play for the Buccaneers, the smart thing to do would be to play for the Buccaneers and put all this other shit on the shelf until the end of the season or until you're cut, until you're injured or whatever.
Right.
I don't
makes
get
perfect
it.
sense. But yeah, I agree. He's not getting good advice from somebody, just from this 10,000-foot view. But
and I feel like somebody might be exploiting him. Is the sad thing. Like maybe he's not that smart. A lot of guys in his position have people who will come around him and see him as just a source of money to be exploited. Whether it's his lawyer who wants a piece of that cheese for suing the NFL because obviously they got a lot of money. Or his agent, who gets a piece of whatever he's doing too. So, I don't know. It just makes me feel sad because there's no way that Gregory seems to be doing what's in his own best interest. On the other hand, maybe he's an asshole and he's probably going to fly somewhere and pee on somebody someday soon. You just never know. Like we run the whole gamut anymore. And I don't know if I should ever feel bad for anyone ever again. Someone I definitely don't feel bad for, Gardner Minshew. This guy came out of nowhere. Lots of people love him, particularly down in Jacksonville still. He spent a brief time with the Eagles. And I remember there was one Cowboys-Eagles game that was awesome because Gardner Minshew got his ass kicked by the Dallas Cowboys, which is always an occasion for me to celebrate and remember. But this from Fox Sports, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. Raiders named Gardner Minshew starting quarterback over Aiden O'Connell. Is Aiden O'Connell, did he recently get drafted or was he a rookie last year?
I think he was a rookie last year, I believe. I'm not positive.
Okay. Anyway, big news in the desert as that guy, the rookie from, I think he was a rookie last year. But Antonio Pierce names Gardner Minshew starting quarterback to open the season for just the second time in his career and for the first time since 2020. Gardner Minshew will be a Week 1 starter. Minshew has been named the Las Vegas Raiders starting quarterback by head coach Antonio Pierce 3 weeks ahead of the team's season opener against the Los Angeles Chargers, who are their division rivals. Minshew prevailed in the Raiders quarterback competition against second-year quarterback Aiden O'Connell, who finished the rookie campaign as the team starter over last year's 9 games. So where's Jimmy Garoppolo? Isn't he still around there somewhere? Or did he get traded? He's still there. How did Jimmy Garoppolo not make it to the top 2? Can you find out where Jimmy Garoppolo is and what's going on with him? Because I'm very confused. In the 2 preseason game, including Las Vegas's Week 2 loss against
he went to the Rams. He went to the Rams.
Garoppolo's with the Rams?
Yeah.
Fuck. When did that happen?
Taking a backup role.
Will you tell me when that happened? Because I missed it.
I will.
All right. You work on that. Anyway, God ordained that the Las Vegas Raiders lose against the Dallas Cowboys against Week 2 on Saturday night. And Minshew completed 16 of 33 passes for 212 yards and 1 touchdown and no interceptions. In comparison, O'Connell was 21 for 29 for 172 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. My own self, General Manager Tom Telesco said, and offensive coordinator Luke Getsky discussed it this morning. A lot of things went into it. It wasn't based off of last night. There's a lot of factors, Pierce said. I feel like Gardner gives us the best opportunity to get off to a fast start. And God knows we need it because the Kansas City Chiefs are going to destroy us. They're going to destroy us again this year, and that's what we're going with. We're going with Gardner Minshew. We support him. Our team's behind it. Our staff's behind it. Organization's behind it. So go out there and buy a Gardner Minshew jersey now. March
19th, Garoppolo did an interview.
Completely missed it.
1-year deal. I think that's
it.
why it wasn't a huge I mean, I remember now that we're looking at it, I remember seeing something, but I just didn't care that much.
Didn't even care. I thought he was still with Las Vegas. So that means Garoppolo is he's in the NFC West again, facing off against his former team, 49ers, potentially.
Mercer
Could easily be starting at some point, considering Stafford's age. Go ahead.
Murr in the chat said he failed a PED test.
He failed to take PEDs. Garoppolo, we would expect at least some THC in your system.
Right.
Going strictly
Trinabinol.
Yes, going strictly by salary, Minshew ended up atop the depth chart isn't unexpected. Now, with his fourth NFL team, Minshew inked a 2-year, $25 million contract to his offseason to join the old silver and black. Just win, baby. O'Connell, a 2023 fourth-round pick, is due $915,000 in base salary. What a chump. He's only being paid $915,000, which is probably more money than I'll make for the rest of my life. Anyway, O'Connell started 10 games in total last year, given the starting spot by Pierce for the remainder of the season over Jimmy Garoppolo. Following then-head coach Josh McDaniels' ousting, O'Connell was given ample chance to retain the quarterback one spot this year because he had earned the chance to compete. There's obviously no guarantees in what we've seen from last of O'Connell as a Raiders starter, but the 28-year-old Minshew has the gig for now. I'm going to try to name all the teams that Minshew's played for. Can you look that up real quick? Because I'm going to try to name them. Jacksonville, Philadelphia, the Raiders. This is his fourth team. And what's the fourth team? I'm going to say Carolina.
All right, let's see.
Keith will get back to me.
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
Minshew, and perhaps more accurately, Minshew Mania, garnered notice in the Washington State's product 2019 season. Oh, they're going to tell me, Keith. He filled in admirably for Nick Foles and became the Jacksonville Jaguars' Week 1 starter in the following season. Whether he got a fair shot or not is debatable, but the Jags struggled mightily en route to finishing last in the NFL, which led to Trevor Lawrence era. Now Minshew's coming off the 2023 campaign. And he started a career-high 13 games for the Colts. That's what it was. That was the fourth team.
Yep.
I knew it was some pointless blue team.
It's actually Jaguars, Eagles, Colts, and now the Raiders.
What's his next team? That's the prediction that I want to know.
The Miss Cleo prediction.
Let's see. He's on the AFC.
Browns. They love quarterbacks.
I was going to say he's going to the NFC next. So I don't think it'll be the Browns. I'm going to say Panthers next, actually. That'll be the next team. I wasn't confused. I was having a premonition. Anyway, he kept the Colts in the playoff hunt until the final week of the season. He earned his first Pro Bowl selection for his efforts. Over 5 seasons with the Jags, the Eagles, Colts, Minshew has started 37 games, posted a 15-22 record, and having shown that he can lead an offense when called upon, particularly the pinch, the Raiders are hoping that he can improve on a 27th ranked offense from a year ago. And so it goes. The Minshew Mania is coming to Las Vegas. One of the NFL's most enduring free spirits has starting reigns of the silver and black. So I think the big reason for him is that he actually made mustaches cool again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he's got a great stash.
That was his main thing. And then he sort of presaged, he possibly changed even the direction of the Top Gun Maverick movie because there was a lot of mustaches in that. And I think they probably felt comfortable doing that because of Gardner Minshew.
Because of Gardner. Yep.
Well, I mean,
I could hang my hat on that.
And Keith does have one of those crazy fireman hats. This from Yahoo Sports, the pinnacle of sports reporting. Fire breaks out at Cowboys training camp hotel in California with no reported injuries. A fire broke out Tuesday at the Dallas Cowboys team hotel in Oxford, the site of the team's training camp. There were no injuries in the fire. Local media shows smoke rising from a condominium at the Oxford Residence Inn, where the Cowboys are staying during their roughly 1-month training camp. The team has conducted a walkthrough at the time of the fire and continued to practice as fire crews responded, often getting in their way. This is the fire at the hotel where the Cowboys are staying. There's just a video of smoke in front of a building. The Cowboys said the fire was the only one in the building and that no one was hurt. The team is continuing their walkthrough. Possibly someone was microwaving some popcorn. Head coach Mike McCarthy told reporters after practice nobody was injured in the fire. The Cowboys later released a statement that the fire was contained to a single room thanks to emergency responders for putting it out. There was a fire emergency in one of the guest rooms in the team's hotel. The emergency was contained to one room that was empty at the time. There were no injuries. The Dallas Cowboys thanked the Oxnard Fire Department and the Oxnard Police Department for their quick response. We do not thank a 911 dispatcher that sent both to the fire and police department. We called them. We thought, let's call 911, but then fuck that guy who answers the phone. Just send the real heroes, they said. Further details about the fire were not initially clear. Neither officials in the Cowboys addressed the cause of the fire. It's not clear whether it was a room where a player or some kind of staffer was residing. I'm guessing it's some sort of big, hilarious joke right now. Cowboys traveled as a team to Oxnard, their first training camp there. They always go there for whatever reason.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, why do they train in Cali?
It's I'm sure Jerry just has a deal there, but because of the nice weather, it's very, very hot in Texas. It's not a good place to train in Texas. Also, they usually will have some joint stuff with the Rams, and I think their first preseason game was even against the Rams.
But they can close their stadium. That's what I don't understand about it. I get it that it's hot in Texas. It's very hot. But they have the ability to enclose their stadium, so why don't they practice in their stadium?
Why do the Vikings train in Eagan?
I didn't know that. I don't know.
They used to train in Mankato, of all places. It was America's shithole. I don't know. I mean... Mankato's bad. I don't know if you've ever been there. You probably haven't.
I've not. I've never been to Minnesota.
Really?
Never.
It's just kind of shitty there. Anyway, the Cowboys they're gonna host the Los Angeles Chargers in their final preseason game on Saturday, and then they will finish preseason practices at the training facility in Frisco. I'm guessing because they're trying to make it kind of a nice thing, and Oxford's a nice place to be, and maybe Oxnard's a hard place to get into trouble as well, I'm guessing. Anyway, they're going to open up their regular season against the Cleveland Browns on September 8th, and guess what? I fucked up big time, and I'm going to be on vacation in Florida when that happens. So I'm probably going to be busy when the Cowboys are playing their first game.
Well, what are you doing?
I'm getting remarried to Kendra.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You said that last.
Yeah. So.
Well, congrats.
Yeah. We're getting married on a Saturday, so Sunday will be our first ever honeymoon. And she's a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, so.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
I hope it works out for you.
We don't choose the people we love. All right, this from Yahoo News. From the Associated Press, firefighters significantly tamed California's fourth largest wildfire on record. It's hilarious to me that they maintain records like this, but I want to show this photo. Firefighters walking past this huge fucking fire. They do not look bothered. They do not look like they care. Just curious. Anyway, we'll go back to the article. Chico, California. California's largest wildfire this year has been significantly tamed as the state initially fierce fire season has, at least temporarily, fallen into a relative calm. The park fire was 53% contained Monday after scorching nearly 671 square miles. That's a lot of square miles. In several northern counties, destroying 637 structures and damaging 49 as it became the state's fourth largest wildfire on record. A large portion of the fire area has been in mop-up stages, which involves extinguishing smoldering material along containment lines, and residents of evacuated areas are returning home. Timber in its northeast corner continues to burn. The fire is burning islands of vegetation within compartmentalized lines, the California Fire Situation Summary said. The park fire was allegedly started by a bear who got a hold of a lighter left behind in a trash can on July 24th at a wilderness park outside of the Central Valley city of Chico. It spread northward with astonishing speed and withering conditions as it climbed a western slope of the Sierra Nevada mountains. July was marked by extraordinary heat in most of California, where back-to-back wet winters left the state flush with grasses and vegetation that dried and became ready to burn. Wildfires erupted up and down the state. The first half of August has been warmer. Summer is still hot, according to Daniel Swan, a climate scientist at the University of California. We're still seeing pretty regular ignitions and significant fire activity because we refuse to just let fires burn, which is nature's way of recycling things. But the pace has slowed, and the degree of that activity, the intensity rates of initial spread are not as high as they were. Nonetheless, vegetation remains drier than average in most places. It is a source of fuel and fire, and there will be fuel in California for the foreseeable future, he said. There's signs of a return to high heat in parts of the West by August and early September. I would expect to see another resurgence of the wildfires activity as lasers are being distributed to bears in the area, he said. Keith, what do you think about large wildfires? Would you ever want to be what do they call them, hot shotters or whatever? You know, the guys that just parachute in and they're like little paratrooper firemen fighter guys. Would you ever want to do that?
I want absolutely nothing to do with that.
You don't want to have to like deploy a tent that you have to climb inside to survive, like a little microwave popcorn bag that you have to crawl inside to survive in the microwave.
That's exactly what it is. It's a little piece of tinfoil that they carry in their fucking pocket. No, I want nothing to do with that. A lot of fucking work. Like, that is very, very strenuous work. I give those guys all the credit in the world just because of how strenuous that job is. You're digging ditches, to make a fire breaks. I mean, it's intense. I've got a couple buddies that used to go out and do that. So those guys are all seasonal. Like, that's not their full-time gig. Most of them. There are some that are full-time, but the pay is not super great from what I've been told, at least years ago. I don't know what it is now, but no, you have no refuge whatsoever when you're out there. And the way those winds out there work, out in the West, especially you get those Santa Ana winds. I mean, it'll push fire so fucking fast that you can't outrun it. Like, no, I'm good. I'm good going into a building that's on fire.
Speaking of buildings that are on fire, 3 firefighters have been injured while battling blazes at a Mesa home. This is in Arizona. A 44-year-old firefighter was fucking around outside an abandoned structure when he fell through a piece of plywood, badly injuring a structure. This, according to Arizona Family 3 News.
Got your dick.
The testicle was transported by ambulance. All right. From Mesa, Arizona, multiple firefighters are hurt after a roof collapsed while they were battling a 3-alarm house fire. All right. I'm going to lay my cards on the table. How I dispatch fire departments? We don't use alarms. What the fuck's an alarm? I don't know.
Are you asking?
Yes, I'm asking. What's a 1 alarm? What's a 2 alarm? What's a 3 alarm? When I hear 3 alarm, do you know what I think of? Picante sauce. I'm being honest. Like, that's a good salsa if it's 3 alarm salsa. Will you tell me what it all is? Because I don't know. I have no idea.
It differs region to region, but like in our region, like a 1 alarm fire is saying how many, and it differs even around here, but a 1 alarm would typically be 3 engines, 1 ladder, and then a medic unit. And then for every alarm increased, so if you go to a 2 alarm, all you're doing is adding possibly 2 more engines and another ladder. So you're just adding a few more pieces of equipment. So a lot of people, they're like, oh, it was a 3 alarm fire. Oh, there were 3 fire departments there. Well, that's not necessarily the case, especially like where I work. We're suburban. We're not, a big city where we handle all our own stuff. So we use mutual aid a ton.
Yeah.
So those trucks are coming from other municipalities, but typically, and it could vary. I mean, it might be 3 engines and 2 trucks, 2 ladders for a 1 alarm, but the increase of an alarms is just saying, hey, send me at least 1 more engine and 1 more ladder. All you're doing is just throwing more pieces of equipment at it.
Is it firefighters needing to be cool and to sound cool? The reason why they just call it why don't they just say like they needed a whole bunch of more apparatuses? Why are they going to say it was a 3 alarm fire? This fire was almost as bad as a picante sauce. Why are they making it seem more dramatic than it necessarily has to be?
I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that if I'm working and we have to upgrade to a 3 alarm. I'm like, give me the picante sauce. You know what I want.
There you go. Yeah. This is from New York City. New York City. Anyway, around 1 p.m., firefighters in Mesa were called to a barbecue fire that had spread to the attic of a home. Where are you barbecuing? On Downing Circle, just north of the University Drive at Greenfield Road. The reason why I asked this is because I once had to dispatch a fire department to a house, Keith, where a man was using a charcoal grill in his garage.
To you and I.
Not knowing that heat rises and accumulates, as does smoke inside a structure. He
Correct.
just thought he would just chill out inside his garage. I'm guessing he thought it was like would work like a like if he had the door open, like the smoke would leave that way, and the fire would just, that the structure would just kind of contain the heat and warm him up probably, and then he could have the door open and be kept warm that way. I don't think he realizes that all the heat's going straight up, and like there's just a circle of ceiling above the grill that's 500 fucking degrees. It doesn't work that way. Anyway.
Well, for normal people, normal thinking people like you and I, yeah, that's not a good option.
No,
but you would be surprised how many runs I've made where people are doing dumb shit like that. Or the best is when they're doing Thanksgiving, frying their turkeys in the garage.
Mesa Fire says 10 firefighters were in the master bedroom when the roof collapsed and had to make an escape to the window. Why were they in there, Keith? I never understand it. I never understand sending a human being. Now, to save someone, I get it. Like, somebody's got to be a hero. Better you than me. We need a hero. We're waiting for the hero, something, and I forget how that song goes. But if the structure's been evacuated, I don't see sending anyone inside. Yes. Get up there on your ladder, smash in the window with the axe. Smashy. Even I will do that part. Try to stop me. And then you run the hose in there and spray down the master bedroom from outside on the ladder. But why are you in there? Why are you under a roof that could collapse on you? I don't see it as worth it for a house. Because the house could be rebuilt. The house could be replaced. I mean, yeah, we're all going to shoulder the expense of rising homeowners insurance costs, things like that. But these are brothers and sons and fathers and daughters, and it just frustrates me. The 911 call reportedly had evacuated with their dog as the fire quickly spread. Firefighters then went defensive and attacked the blaze. Now that statement doesn't make any sense. They went defensive and attacked the blaze. So you don't understand that defense and attacking are the opposite of things that they are. Two firefighters
had being outside.
Yes.
Going inside.
Yes. This is getting very sexual very quickly. 2 firefighters had minor burn injuries. The 3rd firefighter was taken to the hospital with a back injury. A 4th firefighter had a testicle injury. No other injuries were reported.
RIP testicle.
You know what's hilarious about this article, if I may? It says, do you see a spelling or grammatical error? Please click here to report it. They just know they suck, and now they've created a whole link.
They want you to do their work for them. Hey, can you edit this after we post it?
It used to be that news would say, like, hey, did we make up a fucking lie about this guy? And it's all going to be proven false later, because then, like, we'll have a corrections page. Now it's just like, did we misspell plethora? Click here if we did, Fuck. The state of things in journalism, very hilariously bad. Well, Keith, how's your feelings about the Bengals this season? Just to hear from you, like, are you feeling good? You feel like Joe Burrow is going to stay healthy?
I think so. Hopefully, we have the injury bug going around right now, just like everybody else does. A couple of our offensive linemen that are pretty big keys are hurt right now, but hopefully nothing too major. We lost a running back for the season, Chris Evans. He's out, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we've got the Patriots week 1. So I'm not super concerned.
Doesn't that feel good to not be worried about the Patriots anymore?
Absolutely.
It's a new era.
We go into Kansas City week 2. So.
Oh, yeah. So you're going to start 1-1 probably.
Potentially.
It's realistic.
It is realistic.
It could also go 2-0 if Joe Burrow is well and everything's put together, and
if he's got protection. And also, we're still dealing with the Jamar Chase hold in type shit.
Oh, has he not been paid yet?
He is. Well, see, here's the thing. He's got 2 years left on his fucking contract, but yet he wants a new deal now.
Why? He's got 2 years left.
I don't understand it. I don't get it. So that's the big
question. You
question.
Want to know my theory?
Is he going to miss games, and everybody's losing their mind.
My theory is that he feels like he has a unique synergistic connection to Joe Burrow because of their days at LSU. And he's saying, look, you cannot replicate this. We've been playing together for years. We're going to have great performance here. You can count on that. You can expect that. Sign the deal now. Again, probably getting some bad advice from an agent or someone who wants to get paid now, someone that can't simply go to J.G. Wentworth for the structural settlement, needs the Bengals to pay now.
So we just signed our kicker. You know, we talked about Harrison Butker getting a huge deal. Evan Money Mac McPherson signed a 3-year extension, set to make $16.5 million over the next 3 years with an average salary of $5.5. So nowhere near Butker's, but McPherson's been a very good kicker for us. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah, I'm glad for all those guys. We had Brandon Aubrey make like a 66-yard field goal in a preseason game, so I feel good about Brandon Aubrey. I think he's going to be a good kicker. We haven't had a good kicker since Dan Bailey, really a reliably good kicker.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that. I enjoy the kicking aspect of football, even though I'm probably the only one. Big surprise. Marines Blood's not sure if I'm live. What do I got to do?
What do I go get the newspaper that you don't have?
Yeah, I don't have a newspaper. I could pick up the newspaper at the grocery store before the show, but you would be shocked by what's in it. It's like gym will be restricted to first and third periods this year at the high school. It's like the leading story in the newspaper in my hometown.
Oh, shit.
All right. Anything else before we go, Keith?
Tyler said Marines Blood. If you look close, you'll see the beard twitch.
I don't know what I have to do for these people. Tyler, Marines Blood. I could never make them happy. Dallas double doink will live forever. The double doink was actually not Dallas. That was the Chicago Bears.
I remember the term double doink. That was funny.
What Merv 530 is referring to is we had some postseason games in which Brett Maher missed some point after touchdowns. That's not the double doink, though. So just remember that was actually a postseason game with the Chicago Bears versus the Philadelphia Eagles was the double doink. Now that you've been corrected, the show may end. Anything else, Keith, before we go?
No, just know that the counseling bill will be in the mail, and I love you.
All right. When's the next episode of One More I'm Out of Here with Antonin Pepper Depper Ding Dong?
I wish Falk was still in the chats because she always messages me. She says, I can't wait to see what John calls your co-host.
I'm sorry. I just forget his name. I have PTSD and failure to stop doesn't let me take marijuana. So
we've got one lined up here a couple days from now. We just did one yesterday. We recapped the first day of the DNC. So it'll probably be sometime this weekend, I would imagine.
Probably on Sunday, maybe?
I'm working on it. Sunday I'll be at work, but working on a big guest. Or I think he's a big guest, but very political. But he nicknames himself the Secretary of Retribution.
I don't call myself that.
His name is Ivan Raiklin.
Oh, somebody other than me.
He's good. I tried to get you. You work too much.
Okay, I work 40 hours a week.
Then you yelled at me because I didn't know your schedule.
Well, it hasn't changed in 9 years.
Well, I never really asked you what your schedule is. I just say, when are you available?
I think we have to just do some more counseling right here because I think that you think that I'm mad at you most of the time or that I hate you.
Well, sometimes you make me feel that way, John.
Why? I try to help in all respects. I'm trying to help the channel grow. I'm trying to do things to help the show grow.
It's not what you say or what you do. It's how you do it and how you say it. Just
last year in North Carolina, I offered you a free back rub. I even made you a coupon so you could use it anytime. What do I got to do? I don't know.
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Your voicemail is getting played on Com Center tonight. So
sweet.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I have to do to make you happy. But to everybody out there in the Wolfpack, we thank you for watching the show, for showing up, for putting up with some weird sports show with me and Keith.
I have fun doing it. So
I have fun doing it too. I'm worried that we're on some kind of weird margin for cancellation though, because if nobody cares that we're out there, then like
Tell your friends. Tell your friends.
tell your friends, tell your buddies, tell your loved ones, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your son. Make sure you're downloading everything. You got your automatic downloads on. Make sure all your devices in your household are downloading them. A family that all listens together on a road trip or something is a fucking communist family. Make sure everyone's downloading separately and everyone's listening separately, because each one of those counts. So make sure you're passing that along to everyone that you meet. Do not engage with another normal person normally. Make sure you're talking about this show only. We appreciate the show, brought to you by Ghost Bed and Factor Meals and by the Earth's Moon. We anxiously look forward to the start of the NFL season, even though I'll be gone in week 1, apparently, due to my own misadministrations of my life. Do you know why I'm going to be gone though in week 1?
Why?
I'm fucking tired, man. I'm so tired of life, and I'm stressed out and burned out, and I needed to go on vacation. And I like being off in the fall. In fact, I'm taking off like 20 days between now and the end of the year, so I'm going to be off a lot. But I wanted to still go on one last summer vacation, and I figured Florida's someplace I can go in September and still have it be hot by my standard.
Yeah, I think you need it. You definitely need it. We all need it.
And since true crime ended, I'm legally required to get married to Kendra again. So I mean, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
We're going to live separately still. I'm going to come back up here and she's going to live her own life, and my alimony's getting turned off, but at least I'll be able to like have her as a co-signer on most of the things that I buy. So I am getting her credit.
I'm glad you thought this out. That's good. See, that's good pre-planning there.
That's taking forever. So, all right. Can't wait to marry Kendra. You give my best to Jill.
I will do it.
You give my best to Anthony.
How about Andrew Pappas?
And Andrew. I'm so close.
You were so close.
Yes. I was
so with close. An A and had letters after it.
I'm gonna guess it eventually one of these days. And again, nothing against him. I think he's a great host. One more and I'm out of here. Fantastic show. We'll catch you guys all here on the flip side. Goodbye to all our fans, and also Deadleg. If Deadleg wins, he will receive no prizes. All right, guys. God's up. Giddy up. Catch you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Love you, John.
I love you too. I love you so much.